Good morning, colleagues. When people say it's my boss, then it feels like they think they must say that. Juliet, it's not necessary. Can I say all protocol observed? Because as you walked in this morning, I realized that I know most of you, especially the UWC people. So welcome to the 10th eColloquium. It is so heartwarming, especially also to our colleagues from our neighboring campuses. And even more so, those that are coming from the neighboring campuses where I believe there's some shutdown at, I know, UCT, and CQT has also had its fair share of problems. We've been very fortunate so far, and we'll have to see what happens tomorrow after the student elections, after the results become known. But that's not what I want to talk about. Some of you might have recalled at the end of 2015, one of the things that we've done in 2015 was to really interrogate what does it mean to have a university fit for the digital age. And Juliet will recall, we've looked at the vision paper, there were focus group discussions, we had the town hall meetings, we had engagement with student staff, academic support staff. And the outcome of that was a cross-cutting theme in our institutional operating plan of 2016 to 2020 that I believe would be an absolute game changer for UCT, for UWCs, because we were talking about the UCT being shut down. Maybe UCT should also embrace it as a game changer for them. But for UWC, and what was amazing for me, it was the fact that if you try and impose something from the top and tell people now you will be engaging in blended learning, it doesn't always work. You have to have the people in the trenches that will be experimenting with something. Remember, most of us, when you are an academic especially, and even some of us, professional support staff and etc. We are the digital immigrants. We are not the digital natives. So this is a scary space for a lot of people. So when 2015 happened, Juliet will recall, and we've now gone through the iterations that this is something that one would take up as a key strategic objective in terms of especially goal 2. But not only goal 2 because it's cross-cutting. I'm talking about our IOP. There was fear. There was a lot of fear because what would it mean to take on something where, number one, we're saying we're swapping teaching and learning to learning and teaching, you might have noticed. It's quite a fundamental shift. Because it means that irrespective of all the strides that we've been making the last couple of years around teaching, maybe not a lot of thought has gone into how do we actually enable learning and how do our students learn. And then very important in relation to technology, it's not the technology that drives us. It's how technology enables learning. So we then adopted this thing about learning with technology. And it's a very important phrase because even if you adopt blended learning, and it's exciting to see 23 people, I don't know how you're going to fit in 23 people in one day, 23 people that have actually got real experience of this in the classroom. And of course learning doesn't only happen in the classroom. And when you adopt a blended learning approach, then you know it's not about dumping content onto eCamera, but it's about how you think through how your students will be engaging with learning in that particular model and how the technology would be able to unearth that kind of learning potential. And I think that's a very, very important concept that we're working with. It's very exciting, but we've also realized, and we called it at that time, a process of discovery. Because if you shift something onto someone, there can be a measure of resentment. This executive has now decided again we need to do this. Or you could think that we're only being practical, that because the fees must fall, that this is so important. But it's not about that. Fees must fall was maybe just it created an opportunity to further, to get the opting in and opting out of it. And Juliet's been working, and her team been working for more than 10 years to try and really get people to embrace it at UWC. But what this opened up for us was an opportunity to say, how can we get champions in the department? So you might have recall some of you, I wrote you a letter at the end of 2015 to say, can we please have departmental champions, blended learning champions? Because it's not going to be someday that it will be embraced, but once you have someone in a department that can lead this process, then it's almost like the mushrooming effect, or when you throw a stone into a pond, that ripple effect, and that is what we wanted. And I'm very pleased to say that last year, correct me on the numbers, we were 1,180 or 40 modules on eConva, and definitely not a question of dumping, that I can assure you. Then we also had about 114, between 114 and 118, if my memory serves me correct, we had online examinations. And I think our challenge is to look deeper at what does it mean to have an online assessment. And I'm very happy to see one or two people are going to talk about the assessments. How do we make them really connected to what your learning outcomes are? And how do we make sure that, and we've been talking about proctoring services also, from a security perspective, from an authenticity perspective, how do you make sure that we have a real assessment experience, and that it's really connected and not just a question of MCQs and people click and there off we go. So I think it's we're in a very exciting phase, and I hope you also feel that excitement, where you can experiment. And all I'm wanting to ask you is that you make your presentations available, please, so that we can put it on scholarship at UWC, so that people can see, even to our colleagues from our neighboring universities, if you would be so kind. So you could have your own community of practice, and I would say a community of learning and practice, because that is the goal, I would think, of a colloquium such as this, that we can learn from each other, that we can strengthen our pedagogy, and that we can have people that are, Dr. Bradley Rink is sitting there, and I must brag because, just 1 second. Altasa gives 5 awards every year. UWC this year got 2 out of the 5 excellent teachers in this country. And Dr. Bradley Rink from Geography Department is one of, he's very shy now, blushing here. It tells me we're doing something right around learning and teaching and infusing technology and the whole concept of making sure that we focus on the learning, that it's research-led learning, you would recall it in our IEP, but more so in the context of what you are going to be doing today, that it's actually about learning with technology. So the technology doesn't seduce you. Someone mentioned it at one of the other colloquia, or the technology doesn't drive you, but learning drives you. So please have an absolutely fantastic learning day today. Share your learning, and I'm really looking forward to see the outcome and to also have a look at the presentations. Juliet, are you videographing again? So that we can at least, for those of us, I'm very fortunate I'm on a retreat. So I'm going to run away from you today because it's rare that I can go to a retreat. So I'm going to run away from here, but I do want to be able to watch your presentations afterwards. And to Juliet and her team, people don't realize, and this is my last thought, how much effort goes into making sure that you can do what you can do in your classroom. And if it's not for CIECT, and the hard work, and you know that the lab was burnt down almost a year ago, in October. And they've been displaced across this campus. And they're sitting in Steel Park now because people don't think it's such a priority to find a space for them. And I want to say it publicly, that despite that, they are still giving you more than 100%. And I can assure you that they are working on their business continuity plans like they know, they always do. And if anything happens, I'm not too worried because we become very resilient at this. And I know that Juliet and her team will be working tirelessly to support you wherever you may find yourself, but hopefully we'll stay on campus. So on that note, please enjoy today, and I wish you all the very best for your deliberations. Thank you so much.